So let's jump right in. We'll start on the alpha male side of this system, the DAP side, D-A-P, and we'll start first with dominance. Dominance makes girls wet, and I'm not saying that as like a phrase. In my own specific experience, we're obviously going to get into like vulgar details, so make sure you've got your headphones in and your parents can't hear me talk, right? There's been times where I've been more dominant, and I've quite literally seen that her pussy is so much more wet than like a normal level. I can tell you about this one time in my second year of university with one of the 3 girls that I was actively sleeping with. I would text them, you know, like, oh yeah, come over to my room. They knew why they were coming over. Within minutes we'd be having sex, and that was kind of like a normal thing that was happening for me. But this one time with this one particular girl, I just did something slightly different where I brought her in, and instead of kind of like, you know, following the kind of the old script of like, you know, kissing first and hanging out first and watching something first and then slowly like kissing her and getting into it, as soon as she walked into my room, I stood up, walked towards her, got like this far away from her, I said, get on your knees. And straight away, she gets on her knees, and I don't have to say anything else. She starts pulling my pants down and starts sucking me off. And just minutes later, bro, I pick her up, put her onto the table, pull her pants down, and I promise you this was the first time that I'd seen this girl like actually dripping out of her pussy because I told her what to do. Think about the difference. Do you know what? Fuck, this is bringing back a memory of around a year ago. So not a year ago now, but a year before that, in my first year of university, the second girl I had ever slept with. It was kind of like an equal kind of thing where I wasn't very masculine, she wasn't very feminine, so we were somewhat near the middle, not like a horrible level, but whatever. And we'd be, you know, like I was kind of shy because it was my second girl that I was sleeping with, and I was sleeping with her somewhat consistently. And I remember the phrase that she said quite often, which was, would you like a little bit of a blowjob? That she had to kind of ask me. She had to ask me if I wanted to be sucked off. Do you think that's like sexually attractive, exciting for a girl to think like, oh, like, would you like a little bit of a blowjob? Compare that to me telling a girl, get on your knees. And now, honestly, I don't really even verbally say it. Over like, you know, the last while since I've become a lot more confident and like more masculine in myself, I'm a lot more physical, so I don't say get on your knees. What I do right now in terms of establishing dominance, and of course, you know, I don't autistically think, okay, I need to be more dominant. It's just, you know, I'm kind of used to it now. But what I do now, if I think about, okay, the times where I've been dominant, is I don't say get on your knees. I don't say suck me off. I grab them by like a tuft of their hair, bring her to her knees, and literally just start throat fucking her there. And again, I was like, I don't like being so fucking like specific and vulgar because I'm used to just, you know, being a good boy and like telling you about meditation. But it's important because, you know, I actually considered, this is a side note for this video, but I actually considered showing you like real sex clips. Honestly, like I fully journaled about it. I was thinking like the way that you could truly learn, you know, me teaching you is nice, but like if you could imitate my sort of mannerisms and everything, if I literally showed you video clips of me fucking, perhaps you would learn better. But like, you know, it's a personal sort of privacy issue and everything, so I've not done that. With that said, I have to kind of explain things that you can visualize them, just, you know, because it kind of gives you like exposure to learning like something like dominance and aggression. Like, how am I supposed to like teach that to you if you can't really see it in your own mind's eye? I just kind of give her a certain look. She looks at me a certain look, you know, we're just chilling in bed or something. I literally grab their fucking skull, grab the hair, and just pull up right there towards my dick. How different is that compared to like how I used to be, which was waiting for her to say, would you like a little bit of a blowjob? So what exactly is dominance? Well, it's the opposite of submissiveness. You take the lead. She doesn't kind of imply or say or lead anything. You do all of it. You choose like the sexual positions that you want to get into. You manhandle her, literally like move her around, throw her around into the place that you want her to be in. You choose everything in terms of the sexual experience, and she's submissive. She just kind of accepts it. To have more dominance, you need to be okay with being loud, making a noise, making a mess. You should tell her to do and say things. So I want to kind of build up the picture of dominance in your mind. There's the normal kind of sex life that you may have been experiencing so far, which is kind of equal and it's depolarized and it's, you know, oh, let's kiss and let's slowly be gentle and then let's proceed to having missionary sex. Dominance is more so that you are literally like manhandling this woman. You are like throwing her onto the bed. You're not just like, you know, leading her to the bed slowly. You like, as a man, you should be a lot stronger relative to her body weight. So it's like you should have like this level of strength where you can literally throw her onto the bed, you can pick her up. If you can't feel like this right now, then you need to bulk up. Again, another side note, the importance of your body weight, literally just how much you weigh being higher, is so fucking high for a man. Honestly, I think a lot of dominance comes literally just from your size difference, and it's one of the sexiest things. The experiences I've had with girls where it's like I'm literally so much bigger than they are, and I'm like wrapped around like, you know, from behind, I'm fucking her and I'm like this, like there, and it's just like my arms look so fucking big in comparison to like her frame. They melt underneath your dominance. You need to be okay with being loud, to moan and groan and make your own noises, because so many guys stay like kind of silent violent. They don't want to, like, you know, disrupt the sort of peaceful environment that they're in. You need to be okay with, like, literally dropping shit, like shit crashing, because that's an act of dominance where you don't give a shit about this, like, random ass fucking light that's over here. Your full focus is on absolutely annihilating this woman. Telling her to say things is like a really sexy act of dominance, and that's one of my favorites. Is not so much me doing dirty, like, just dirty talking can be kind of cringe. It's like, what the fuck do you even say and everything. And there is like a dirty talking video that I've made as like a bonus for this course if you want to go and see. It's like near the bottom. But just quickly, like, the best way to implement dirty talking, especially in an angle of dominance, is not for you to dirty talk. It's for you to tell her to say what you want to hear from her. So literally you can say the words, like, as you're fucking her hard, like, say the words, like, kind of grunt the words, say my name. Fuck, that shit's sexy, bro. I just got a semi. I'll tell you a couple of the things I can think of that I say, but you shouldn't, you know, just autistically, like, copy me, but you should, you know, find your own voice. If I'm fucking kind of aggressively, I'll say something like, tell me you like it, you can take it, tell me you can take it, tell me you want it harder. And so she'll say what I've just told her to say, and that's so, bro, holy fuck. Telling a girl what to say and her saying the thing that you've just told her to say as your fucking... Holy fuck, man. This is the first time of this course where I've just got turned the fuck on thinking about that, man. Holy fuck. Imagine not being dominant, bro. Imagine being like this little feminine, little submissive ass guy and not experiencing this side of women. Like, a woman is waiting to be submissive for the right guy. You can be the right guy, but she'll only be submissive if you turn on your dominance. Dominance, just in general, is just about you leading the situation. You either telling her to or making her do something. In the CAP section of this course, you know, this system is DAP plus CAP. But in the CAP session, the A stands for authenticity. And that's where we'll really talk about, okay, what do you really want out of this sexual experience and out of her? Once you really stay authentic and you kind of know what you enjoy, that's when dominance becomes so much more pleasurable, because dominance mixed with authenticity, what you actually want out of this situation, you telling her to do the thing that you want, that's so fucking attractive. Holy shit. Think about from the woman's perspective. She's hearing you tell her how to pleasure you. That's literally an act of being the alpha male. That's literally like the act of being like the superior male. So dominance is incredibly important, and it's all about just leading and taking control of the situation, and specifically putting that control, that leadership, that dominance onto her and making her do things. What should you get her to do? Well, it depends what you actually want. We're all different in the things we enjoy. And you need to just take a second right now to be authentic and think, okay, what do I actually find pleasure in? What's like the most fun part of sex for me? I'm gonna tell her, or I'm gonna make her do that thing. And a girl asked me what my fetishes were. We're in the car driving back, so she's gonna drive me back home. I literally just fucked her in the woods. And she kind of like insinuated through text that she wanted to find out what my fetishes are. I don't really have any like actual sort of like big fetishes or anything. But we're in the car and she asks me, and this was her exact words, so what are your fetishes? Apart from dominance, because that's clear. That was literally what she said. Apart from dominance, because that's clear. And I just, you know, navigated the question in kind of like a sexual way. But as I'm like putting on, this is just an interesting story, but as I like put on some music, she literally saw a playlist on my Spotify titled Dominance. At least for me, it's an incredibly important part of my sex life, and I wouldn't go without it anymore. To think that like previous, like younger Hamza, or you know, the majority of guys don't feel comfortable unleashing a level of dominance is, oh, that's so sad. So for you to be more dominant, you know what it is you need to do, okay? You need to just tell her to do things. You need to move her around. You need to be the one sort of like choosing everything. How do you somewhat feel more comfortable with that? Of course, everything that we're going to teach is based on the model of like progressive overload. You've got to just do a little bit more today, you know, a little bit more than you're somewhat comfortable with. And you know, you're pushing past your comfort zone for a little bit. But how do you feel more comfortable with being dominant? Honestly, I think it all comes down to your level of masculinity, because dominance is just masculine. When I was a lot less masculine and I was more feminine, I was less dominant in the bedroom, but then also in the rest of my life. You'll find that your level of masculinity is totally linear to your level of dominance in the bedroom. So this is the unsexy answer, but go through the rest of your self-improvement, especially the way that I recommend on my YouTube channel. You've seen over the last maybe 6 months that I've had such a big focus on masculinity and femininity. So make sure you're levering up that masculine side of you. I have a full guide on how to become more masculine on my channel. So make sure if you haven't watched that already, that you go through that, because if you become more masculine, you will become more dominant. And if you have watched that video previously, maybe just go give it a quick recap. It's literally called Full Guide to Masculinity. It's on my YouTube channel.